Hello, everyone. My name is Taylor.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are the co-hosts of Jumping Bomb Audio, the #1 show all about the world of Joshi Pro Wrestling. Episodes drop every other Monday, where we discuss the biggest Joshi news, review shows, and preview the hottest upcoming Joshi action.
So whether you're a new fan or an old fan, we've got something here for you at Jumping Bomb Audio.
Check us out on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Here we go! Kiss me like a love star. So I'm a cowrie. Whoa, kimi ya kata omoi. Namida no shitsure mo. So give me 2, give me 5, give me double chatters.
You're listening to the Emerald Flow Show on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
Welcome to episode 72 of the Emerald Flow Show. We're a podcast on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. You can follow us on X at Emerald Flow Show. And if you're feeling generous, you can donate to the show at voicesofwrestling.com/donate and listen to us on all of your favorite podcast apps and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. I'm Gerard here with Paul again. Paul, we got a lot to talk to, and I know that you just finished watching a bunch of wrestling, so are you ready?
Yeah, basically. I spent a lot of today watching a lot of wrestling, so it's kind of all that's on my mind at the moment.
We're going to start real quick with GLEAT, which we haven't covered in a while. And all I would say from the most recent show, the only match I watched was Edo Tamura versus Daimaji So, which I was told wasn't that great. I actually liked it. I thought it was a solid match. I mean, it was just like a little over 10 minutes in a mid-card match, but I thought it was good for what it was. But Paul, we got to preview this ridiculous show at Edion Arena, Osaka, that's coming up on October 6th. I should add that GLEAT is still signing people.
Which is absurd, yeah. We might have a little segment coming up on the next show where that might reveal what we think about the potential future of this promotion.
Yeah, so they signed Riki Aitaka, who's, I don't know how old. And then did they sign Kotaro Suzuki?
Yeah, they signed Kotaro Suzuki.
Which was a little interesting given his age. I mean,
yeah.
Kotaro.
He's great, yeah. It's not like you want to like build around. That's not like, it's also not a draw or anything like that. So it's not like exciting in any way. It's just a very weird thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. So let's just quickly go after over this show. We've got, we've got some, do you think these are, I think these are, I don't know if these are actual MMA matches or not. But
I do know that they announced some great MMA matches. Yeah,
because you got Izuka versus Kara Uno, who blast from the past. You got Shrek versus Canton Man and Daisuke Nakamura versus Misaki Takura, right?
Yeah, I like, based on how the first great MMA show went, I have no idea why they think it's a good idea.
And they have them in keep teams because it's like, you got the Tokyo Sabres, which is like Vanguard. Which is Masaki Takura, Canton Man, and Kaoru Uno, who's the captain. And then Team Great, which is Daisuke Nakamura, Hideki, Shrek, Sakine, and Yu Iizuka.
Yeah, and it's also like if I'm you, like why am I doing like I embarrassed myself last time? Like
But these
why
are
would I
grappling
possibly
rules.
wanna
It
go
says.
back? Okay, so that won't.
One
So if
round.
it's not actual shoot fights, then okay.
No one's gonna get super embarrassed, unless if it is actually.
Hopefully.
You know. Oh God. I mean, this is ridiculous. You know, Paul, I was doing some research for something, working on the Observer Hall of Fame piece for a certain wrestler that I will not divulge at this moment. But I was reading some old observers about. Have you ever heard of the Ultimate Crush show that New Japan had at the Tokyo Dome?
Which one was that one?
So the main event was Nagata versus Takayama, and the semi-main event was Kobashi versus Chono. But half of the matches on that show were actually
Oh God.
MMA.
Oh yeah, when New Japan was basically dying because Inoki got it in his mind that like pro wrestling is over.
Well,
Like
that's
shoot fighting is the future.
Drew, actually, which is also certainly funny to me. So we go next.
Oh, sorry, no. Did you say how many it drew? I was waiting for the number.
It drew legit over 40,000.
Oh, wait, like actually legit, or like it drew over 40,000?
So Dave had it at over 40,000 people and announced 55.
Okay, I mean, fair enough, yeah.
Which was one of those little interesting things I didn't realize going back, because I went through the old observers to see if I could find legit, and there's some in the supposed. I gotta maybe think of this because I followed it in real time, but there are some exaggerated attendances that still had pretty decent attendance with the numbers that Dave got in the, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right? Like
it just tied up a bit.
Still like 10,000 was still like 8,000 or something like that along those lines, which I thought was very interesting. So I might have to do more digging on that time and see how many actual numbers I can come up from that era of more realistic numbers that Dave had, and sort of maybe think about how we sort of view that era, because there's some great stuff in that era, but I still have very negative feelings towards it.
I mean, it did very nearly kill New Japan. Like,
absolutely. Right. And you also have to remember the semi-main event of that show was Kobashi versus Chono. And it was at Takayama's peak, and even if Nagata was a little.
Oh yeah.
So tag match: Black Generation International versus Anti-Glee Monsters, Suzuki and Demonji So versus Ryuichi Fire Kawakami and Brass Knuckles June, which is now June Tancho in a truly ridiculous gimmick. We got T-Hawk versus Takahiro Yamamura. That actually could be good.
That could be good, yeah. Like that, like if you look at that card in general, that's like one of them that I've like, you know what, I think this could be a good match, but yeah, it's not a lot else.
So then we have the Great versus the Ibushi Pro Wrestling Research Institute, Minoru Tanaka and Takanori Ito and Masamoto Ikemoto versus Rika Taka, Kota Ibushi, Yukimitsu Takahashi, and Kikutaru.
Yeah, that's the thing, like 2024 Ibushi, right? Even if it is like, even if he's hidden in like a multi-man tag. And it's like, I mean, that's also the other thing. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. You did this whole thing, big deal about the Ibushi's going to be on the show. And he's just in this like weird multi-man tag match.
Well, also, we have Pro Wrestling World Premium 6-Man Tag Battle. Al Lindemann and Octagon Jr. and Fabi Apache versus Michiko, Chris Ridgway, and Sam Adonis.
Yeah, that's. I mean, now Great is just really morphing into like the AAA of like of Japan, basically. Because that's a match like AAA would also book. I mean, yeah, obviously because there's a bunch of AAA people in there, but like, also like just like randomly throwing people together that don't really like, I don't know, don't really have anything to do with each other, really.
So now I'll give some credit to this. We got the G Infinity Tag Team Championship with the champions Kaito Ishida and Tetsuya Izuchi defending against Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel, the Rascal.
I mean, that should be fun. That one should be really good.
Absolutely. And then, of course, the G-Rex Championship match, Hayato Tamura versus Parker Boudreaux.
Now, this, on the other hand, when I saw this announced, I nearly lost my mind. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? And it also, like, we should mention, like, they're running the bigger hall in, like, Ideon. They're not running the small one. They're running the big one, and they're running with Parker Boudreaux on top.
Well, I don't know if this is actually the main event because we got to go to the Ledet UWF half.
True.
Or no, sorry. There's only one Ledet. I think the Ledet UW. Sorry, there's only one Ledet UWF match apart from those quote unquote shoot matches, and I think that might be
but still, like, in what is in theory, right? Your top match, and who you're running there is a guy that, like, wasn't good enough to be on Dynamite.
Yeah, despite his size, which always will get you.
Yeah, and it's his first match in Japan, and he's only had like how many matches has he had in total? Like under 100, I think.
Yes.
Like, I think he has like a shockingly small amount of matches that he has actually had. Let me just look that up, because now I actually want to know. Like, he has had in total, what is it? So he has had a total of 26 matches.
Yeah.
And like, most of which come in 2022 when he had 15 matches. So like more than half of his matches were 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, why? Like, just my only question is, why?
I don't know.
It makes no sense.
I mean, look, he's a monster foreign heel that they can just bring into feed to Tamara. I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah, but you could pick literally anybody else.
Of course you could. You could have. Who else is there? I don't know. You could have. There's a big guy from the. You could have paid All Japan to have like Cyrus.
Exactly. Yeah, like Cyrus or someone. Yeah, I just don't get it, because I don't know. Because again, he's so green, and he's literally being brought in as a complete unknown. Like, how many people, like, realistically in the audience are gonna know who he is? Because it's not like he was super prominent either in WWE or in AEW. And I don't think anybody's watching, like, AAA. And he's only had 2 matches there anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's going to be a mess. And we'll see. I just want to see how Tamara, like, handles it.
If Tamara somehow gets a good match out of him, like, he deserves, like, I don't know, Wrestler of the Year consideration for being, like, the biggest miracle worker in the entire business.
Sure. I'll give him that. And then in the main event for the Ledet UWF Championship match, Katsuhiko Nakajima versus Masakatsu Funaki. Paul, is it unrealistic to think that Funaki could win?
No, absolutely. I think Funaki will win, yeah.
Oh, you think he will win?
I don't think Funaki wants to drop to Nakajima.
I figured that Nakajima would win, but there was a chance that Funaki could.
I mean, like, because like with Funaki, right, the thing is, like, he's like another one of those guys that really only loses to guys that he, like, respects.
Well, this is fun.
I don't think, especially in a shoot style match.
Well, Paul, I was going to say, yeah, you see Funaki did a certain job in a certain show we're going to talk about later.
He did?
Yeah, on the Korakuen show for All Japan.
I literally just watched it and I completely slipped my mind.
Davey Boy Smith pinned him.
Oh yeah, he was.
Which I was like, whoa, what is that all about?
Oh, sorry. Actually, I literally only watched the 3 tournament matches on that show. Oh. I actually forwarded straight to the final after the second semifinal, and I actually managed to hit it exactly. I actually just randomly dragged it where I was like, okay, I'm just kind of gonna go like 30 minutes from the end of the file, and I actually hit exactly on, like, spoiler, Ren Ayabe's entrance.
So I thought was interesting though was in a job today. So I don't know. Maybe he's open to doing them.
Yeah, but then again, Davey Boy is also part of that whole like Bloodsport, like Josh Barnett crew, right?
That's true. So maybe that's just what it is. But I just thought it was an interesting thing. And so
then again, I actually just looked it up, and he actually did lose to him in the N1 2021 semifinal. So it's not like it's unprecedented that he would drop to Nakajima in a singles match.
Yeah. So we'll see, though. It will be very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm great, I would keep the title on Nakajima. But,
for sure.
Like, based on how much this promotion is just also taken over by, like, old shooters, you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if they put it on Funaki instead. And who knows, maybe Nakajima has also already burned that bridge. That's also always an option, as we've learned.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. In some way, it's like it could be the biggest car crash of the year, and I cannot look away.
Oh, yeah, that's why we were reviewing it, right? Like, we dip our toes into GLEAT every once in a while, but it's like, yeah, this is such a big show and such a weird-ass car that, like, we're just going to have to review it.
Yeah. So we then move on to Pro Wrestling Noah on April 19th, or sorry, September 14th, at Tokyo Korakuen Hall in front of 1,391 fans. That's a good turnout, because it was also the hottest angle in the company.
Yeah, I was about to say, if this hadn't drawn at least 1,000 people, I would have been like, yeah, it's over. Kaito is never gonna be like any kind of draw. But they drew a good number here, and they built this up well. The only problem is that one of these guys is leaving. So
yeah, so there's like nothing to build off of this. Okay, so first we got to talk about this Deki Odashima debut match. Yu Owada defeated Deki Odashima seconds with the crab hold. This is a really strong debut for Odashima. He was trained by Timon Honda, who was on commentary for this match. Now, Odashima is small. He's like 5'5". He's going to be a junior, but he has skills. This guy.
Yes. No, absolutely. He really is he was like kind of like popping off the screen in a way almost. I mean, I think it helped that he was like in front of like a massive hot Korakuen crowd, and that he was probably doubly motivated with his trainer there. But I think if this is the effort, like if this is kind of the level that we can expect from him and like improvement from this as well, like I think we're looking at a guy that could be like the head of the junior division in like a couple of years down the line.
They should just rocket pack us.
Yeah, I mean, they should. We'll see if they will, because I have some takes as well later when we talk about the like Royal Road final about like the difference between certain promotions.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe they should just rocket pack him, because again, he seems more experienced than other trainees that they debuted. So.
Shuji Kondo and Ada defeated Shuhei Taniguchi and Kai Fujimura in 6 minutes and 46 seconds with the Imperial Uno from Ada on Fujimura. Paul, I like that. Did you watch this whole show?
Yeah, I watched the whole show.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought this was just a fun little match, because it was like Kondo and Ada being these little dickwads, like trying to outrun and Taniguchi, because he's older and he's bigger, but he's slower, obviously, because of his age. And then beating up Fujimura. It was a lot of fun for what it was. I didn't realize that Fujimura is 28 or 29 now.
Yeah, he's kind of like Yo and Show syndrome, where he's like getting to his late 20s. And
yeah, I thought he was still in his like early 20s, maybe 25.
No.
Damn. Okay. So anyway, that was fun. And then Naomi Chimarufuji, Takashi Sugiura, and Masa Kiyomiya defeated Keno, Alejandro, and Cristobal in 9:40 with the Saito suplex from Kiyomiya on Cristobal. Again, this was short and sweet. That six-man tag did what it needed to do. And then Cristobal ate the fall, returning. I really dug the Sugiura and Keno.
Yeah, those were awesome.
And then here to Dr. Wagner Jr., Galeno Del Mal and Daga defeated Dragon Bane, Alpha Wolf, and Super Crazy in 10:35 with the Galeno special from Galeno on Crazy. Again, this really delivered. And I got to say, I didn't even notice Crazy was in this match until the end.
Yeah, like I literally remember him like holding up the flag during the entrance. And then the next thing I like remember seeing him in is like getting pinned by Galeno, essentially.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it was a great showcase for Galeno, right? I mean,
yeah, I think that's the goal here right now, because again, my suspicion is still that like Wagner is leaving. So like they're very much in a mode of like, hey, we got this like big new guy. Like, here's my brother. Like, time to get my brother over.
Well, I was
fair enough.
Do you think that Galeno is going to stay while Wagner leaves?
Yeah, because like I think Wagner is very much ready for the next step. I don't think Galeno is. Like, as impressive as he looks, he is still like a lot greener than his brother. Sure. Like, I think he can do impressive stuff, but I don't think he's quite there yet in like putting like an actual match together. So yeah, he still needs to learn, but I feel like this is also like the perfect place for him. So I feel like Wagner's gonna go wherever he's gonna go, and then when like Galeno is like more experience, he's gonna bring him there as well.
Well, Wagner's going to WWE.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah,
That makes the most sense.
it does. My question would be, are they going to unmask him?
Well, that was my follow-up question. It's very although it's not. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, it kind of depends, right? Like, I mean, obviously, like WWE is kind of stupid of taking like mask off of people without, building it up, but whatever. That's a whole other point. But on the other hand, if he got enough genes from his dad, I also kind of get why you would maybe want to take the mask off of him.
Sure.
Just remembering the reaction to everybody when his dad took his mask off. And I don't remember who said it, but basically I saw like one comment that was like when Wagner took off his mask, it's like there were like lots of women in Mexico that all of a sudden realized that they were dating Dr. Wagner Jr. And there were a lot of women in Mexico that all of a sudden realized that they were not dating Dr. Wagner Jr.
And then we got the Rattel's 2.0 here with Hayata, Yohei, Tadasuke, and Yuto Kikuchi defeating Amatsuka, Atsushi Katoge, Hajime Ohara, and Junta Miyawaki in 12:21 when Yohei used the drop kick on Katoge. Perfectly. Actually, this was a good match for what it was, and I thought they sort of got over Kikuchi well in his first match.
I have to say, though, now that we've seen him a couple of times at Rattel's, he really, really has that, like, I think it's also getting stronger as well, where he has that, like, we have show at home look. Like, I don't know, I have the feeling it's more pronounced, like, every show, but here's my other hot take. I think he's better than Show. Because Show, once upon a time, had potential, whereas, like, now, with Yuto Kikuchi,
Not even Show. There's a couple of Best of the Super Juniors there where Show was like, incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, not lately, not current Show.
No. And then for the GHC national title, Manabu Soya defeated Uka Sasaki in 15:29, jumping DDT. This was once again a failed first defense of the title, which was like Hayata 2 with Sasaki beat him. Soya becomes a 13th champion, obviously well deserved. My God, Korakuen want this Soya to win this match.
Oh God, they would have gotten a riot if he hadn't won.
But this is also, I think, and I said this a couple times over the N1, but this was definitely Sasaki's best single.
Yes, no, for sure. Like, I was really impressed with a lot of his performances during the N1, but this was by far like his best singles match. It helped that it was in front of a really hot crowd that just really wanted like Soya to win, but like I think Sasaki also like did his like job here really well, like working over Soya and everything, and then Soya like rallying back, like using the crowd and then just beating him clean and crowd exploding. Yeah, I thought this was a really great match. Like I went 4 stars on this one, which that's like I think the first time I went there for like Sasaki.
Yeah. And then in the main event, Ryohei Oiwa and Noah last match. Kaito Kiyomiya defeated Ryohei Oiwa in 27 minutes and 6 seconds with a figure 4 style pinfall. Well, look, apart from the finish looking a little wonky, I liked this match a lot, and I thought it built off well their first match during the N1, like a little more heated, more brawling. I thought they did a really, if you watch these 2 matches back to back, I think it tells a really good, and I like a little more than their N1 match. Not to say it was match of the year level, but again, like the 4 1/4 range.
Yeah, because the N1 match was very much also supposed to be the, because that was just after Ogawa announced his retirement, so it was very much a callback to that, right? Yeah. Whereas this one was, as you said, like a lot more like heated, basically.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that as well. I would have kind of maybe was hoping that it was gonna be like hit with me a little bit higher than it actually did. I thought it was still a great match. I still went like 4, but I was actually maybe hoping more for something like in the 4.5 range. But again, victim of high expectation. Still a great match. Still a really good like send off for Oiwa, and also. Like in the days prior to the match, I had kind of talked myself into Oiwa actually winning because that would have just been the ultimate Noah cuck move, and luckily they didn't do that.
I'm going to tell you right now, Paul, I sort of almost agree because there is literally nothing for January 1st in this company that has any legs other than Mark, which is another WWE guy. And then you need something else on top, and that would have been it. Oiwa versus Kiyomiya would have been, Marufuji,
I don't know what it's gonna do. Yeah.
whoever. Marufuji versus Cody. No, I don't think so. But Marufuji versus Nakamura. And then Oiwa versus Kiyomiya. Those could have been your top 2 matches. But so I don't know what they're going to do for the GHC title in Budokan on January 1st.
Could they have done we're thinking, right, if Wagner is leaving, could they maybe do a deal where it's Kaito versus Wagner, and Wagner is basically saying if I lose, I'm leaving Noah essentially?
Yeah, you could do that, I think.
Because he's front and center for the poster as well, Wagner. So I feel like he is going to do something. And my suspicion was still that he was going to be in the final.
Yeah, that would make sense too. And then so there's a couple of spot shows, but I don't think they've been uploaded to Wrestle Universe yet, if they were even recorded. But they did upload the Shinjuku Face show. Only 285 fans. This is on the 21st of September. That's not a great number, but this wasn't on much card. But I just got to say, Keno versus Daiki Onishima, that was a lot of fun, and it is exactly what you think it was. Galeno Del Mal defeated Yu Owada. That was also a lot of fun. And the main event of Naomichi Marufuji and Masa Kitamiya defeating Kaito Kiyomiya and Alejandro, and they went 17:05 with an arm lock prison hold from Kitamiya on Alejandro. I thought that was also a very good build-up match. So I wouldn't sit down and watch the whole show. I'd watch those 3 matches.
Fair enough. I mean, they also announced the match with Masa Kitamiya and Kaito, right?
Well, yeah, I'm just going to get to that here. But first, we got on the 28th, this Saturday. They got the Limit Break show, and that has 8-man tag team match. So it's Team Noah, Katoke, Yone, Saito, and Shiozaki versus Jun Akiyama, Yukio Naya, Tomomitsu Matsunaka, and Hiroto. We got Fujita and Kazuyuki Fujita and Yuo Owada versus Shuji Shikawa and Yoshitatsu.
Noah wrestler Yoshitatsu.
Yeah. We got Tetsuya Endo and Yuki Ino versus Kai Fujimura and Kohei Kinoshita. Black Menso Ray versus the Reeve Mask. I don't know who that is. Because it's sponsored by the Reeve.
Mask? Ah, okay.
It's sponsored by the Reeve. It's a company gimmick.
Okay, so it could be anyone then. Maybe. Oh man. Okay, but given past precedent, right? Could it be the company president?
No. Well, the Reeve? Yeah, I suppose it could be.
We have historical precedent that actually the guy underneath the mask is actually just the CEO. I don't think it will be in this case because I don't think other people are as crazy as the guy as Mr. I don't remember his name actually.
I can't remember it either, but yeah, the Carbell guy.
Yeah, the Carbolito.
Yeah, Carbell Ito.
Yeah, we'll shoot trash for unmasking Carbolito. Yeah, he's actually the CEO of Carbell.
And then what I assume is going to be the opening match: Hajime Ohara versus Yuya Takashika. And then they got a show on Monday the 30th at Shinjuku Face, which has got the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team match. You got Hayata and Yohei versus Katoge and Ohara. I mean, that's got to be a retained match. But we got some good news.
Especially since it was pinned Ohara and Katoge.
Yeah. Oh, you never know with this.
Yeah.
Which is so stupid because I can't even believe I'm going to defend this, but I'd rather see Hayata and Katoge and Ohara.
Yeah.
But
actually.
We got GLG explodes because we get Jack Morris versus Anthony Green versus LJ Clary. Also very nice to see that Green and Cleary are back because I was a little iffy on that.
I actually kind of hope that they just tell Jake to go fuck himself and just reform GLG after that match.
Yeah, for sure. We got Kaito Kiyomiya versus Daiki Odashima. I mean, that could be a lot of fun. We got Manabu Soya and Oka Sasaki versus Wagner and Galeno. Again, pretty good match. We got Marufuji, Sugiura, Kitamiya, and Owada versus Daga, Super Crazy, Bane, and Wolf.
I think it's clear who's losing there.
Yeah. Tadasuke and Yuto Kikuchi versus Junta and Kai Fujimura. That could actually be good. We got Asuka and Ada versus Alejandro and Crystal Ball. So that card was actually a little better than much better than their last effort. And then other stuff that's upcoming. We've got the Progress /Noah/Defy show in Oberhausen.
Yep, I literally have the ticket in my hand.
Do we have a card for that? Because it's not on the Noah website.
Nope. I was about to say there's nothing announced for it, and we're a week out from the show.
And then on Monday, October 7th, at once again back at Shinjuku Face. We got an elimination match. It's All Rebellion, so Kiyomiya, Keno, Alejandro Cristobal versus Segura, Kiyomiya, Uka Sasaki Kitoge. That could be pretty good. We got Go Shiozaki, Shuhei Taniguchi, and Hajime Ohara versus Jack Morris, Anthony Green, and LJ Cleary. So it assumes that your wish could be coming true, Paul.
We'll see.
Manabu Soya and Alpha Wolf versus Wagner and Galena. That's it.
I mean, wasn't there like a hair versus mask match as well with Eita and Dragonbane, wasn't it?
Well, let's see what's on the everything on the Korakuen. We've got Kaido versus Masakita Miya. We've got Manabu Soya versus Wagner Jr. in a national title match, which, this is like the kind of we're going to job him out before he leaves vibe type thing.
Yeah, basically.
We got Marufuji Segura defending against Keno and Alejandro, which I think could be good.
Yeah, especially since it's like the other two good people. Well, it basically it's a match excluding Cristobal, so that makes it better.
Yeah. We got Josh Barnett and Uka Sasaki versus Masakatsu Funaki and Kazuyuki Fujita. Look, Sasaki's probably going to eat the fall here, but he really
No, but yeah.
He's one of the old guys.
Yeah, it should be. But, it's Noah.
Then we got
I actually found one match. Sorry, I actually found one match for the Oberhausen show.
What is it?
Riho versus Stephanie Mays for the Progress Women's World Championship.
But not.
That's the only one I found. They announced Cara Noah versus Kenta, but that's for October 27th in London. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Oh, sorry. I forgot about this one. Sorry. I actually have to apologize because they have actually announced one really good match.
Okay.
But it's kind of Noah. It's Luke Jacobs versus Timothy Thatcher for the Progress title.
Okay. That could be good.
That could be really good, yeah. But then again, like it's a guy like the women's title matches, like none of them are involved with Noah, and Thatcher's been out of Noah for a while now. So, and then I haven't seen any. Like I would obviously assume Tai Shizawa is at least going to be there, but then they haven't announced any other like Noah talent for that show, really.
And Noah's got a show the next day with a bunch of talent.
Yeah, so that makes it difficult. And
I'm not going to sit here and play elimination by eliminate yet, so not everybody.
It's Hideki Suzuki will at least be on there, hopefully, because he's literally in town.
Yeah. And then we got the Akitoshi Sato last Korakuen match. We had the last match in Korakuen Hall. We got Akitoshi Sato, Shiro Koshinaka, and Akira versus Go Shiozaki, Muhammad Yonhei, and Atsushi Kitoge. And honestly, Paul, this could be a good match.
Oh, yeah, it could be. Like, again, Akira is actually the best guy on his team. Like, I think Akitoshi Saito, again, can still go to some degree, but what we've seen from Akira, I'm like, yeah, no, this could actually be really fun.
Yeah. So that's Noah. And before we begin into the more recent All Japan, I just realized when I saw Shiro Koshinaka, I forgot to make the show. We forgot to talk about the Koshinaka 45th anniversary show on our last episode because that had already happened, and I had watched. I'd only watched the semi-main and the main event, and the main event was Kento and who else versus like Fujinami, Leona, and someone else. I can't remember, but that was actually a really fun match because Kento was getting heat for being addictive.
I mean, I would say Kento has been healing it up a lot more recently.
He has.
I like I said, I know I've been predicting this for a while now, but like, I really, there's especially one match that we're gonna talk about where I got that feeling.
Yeah, and then of course in the main event, well, I mean, it was a comedy match, but it was a lot of fun. It was Shiro Koshinaka, Yuma Aoyagi, Raisuke Taguchi, and Kengo Mashimo, Kuroshio Tokyo, Japan, Seigo Tachibana, Shotaro Chino, and Suwama in 1924. So Yuma Aoyagi came out looking like he was a member of High Sea Ishingun or something. And
oh yeah,
it was. I mean, top two matches are worth a watch. Oh, it was Kento Miyahara Musashi and Seki Yoshioka versus Leona Takaiwa, Hito Takaiwa, and Fuji. So just watch the top two matches. That's
okay. Now that I think about it, I think I actually did watch it because I do remember Yuma and Nagi.
Yeah. So now from that we move on to All Japan, more proper. and we start the World Road Tournament in Nagoya at Nagoya International Conference Hall in front of 817 fans, which, well, I don't know, since one of the matches had to be, since Suwama got, I don't know if Suwama's match was, but he got pulled off, replaced Yuki Miyamoto, but 817, not bad, but they often do over 900.
Yeah. I mean, and they even put a title match on there, and the Triple Crown champion was in the main event, so I would say it's a little bit disappointing, but nothing too major.
Yeah.
Still the opening round for a tournament that historically doesn't exactly draw well either.
Well, they usually put the finals in this building.
Yeah, I mean the finals true for but like I think like other shows for this tournament generally don't.
But I mean
do
in
amazing.
Nagoya at the International Conference Halls where they usually have the finals.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe Nagoya felt they got shafted.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, actually, they don't get a lot, so I kind of get the feeling there. Yeah.
So for the All Asia Tag Team titles, Musashi and Seki Yoshioka defeated Kuroshi Tokyo Japan and Seigo Tachibana in 15-22 with the Neta Nichiru from Musashi on Tachibana for the fourth defense. I don't think I like this as much as Abe and Tachibana's challenge for the titles, but it was still solid. I mean, look, Musashi and Yoshioka have been very good All Asia Tag, which I think is kind of
I mean, they have gotten a pretty decent reign, like by the standards of this title.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. But I think we'll get to that in a moment. But I think it's coming to an end.
But then again, with this title, it's literally a coin flip every single time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's just skip the mid card and go to I did watch this whole show, but I did not do for all the other shows. But so Joe Redmond defeated Yuko Miyamoto in 9-19 with a diving knee drop. Perfectly good, solid 9-minute match. I mean, look. I like Redmond. He is a perfectly solid, if not spectacular wrestler. I like him for what he brings, and I'm glad he's back.
No, I mean that's the thing you can really like say about Joel Redmond. Like, he is incredibly solid. Like, it's quite literally like the one criticism I have is obviously like he doesn't really like ever like put in amazing performances. Like, he has a very like low ceiling. But he also has an incredibly high floor. Like, there's not a lot of like variance. Like, essentially, he's like, that restaurant where, they make perfectly acceptable food. Like, you're never going to walk out of there and be like, I just had an amazing meal. But you also always know when you go in there, you're never going to be disappointed either. And that's basically Joel Redmond as a wrestler.
Well, Redmond's never been put in like in All Japan in a big main event either.
But again, he's also never shown like, the ability that like, I think there's a reason why he's never been put in that position too.
Fair enough. And then in the big upset of round one, Dan Tamura defeated Shotaro Ashita with 13-49.
Yeah. So I said I'll crash watch the entire tournament today. I didn't actually. I watched this show like 2 days ago. And I watched it while wearing my like Shotaro Ashino shirt as Dan Tamura's pin, and I'm like, oh, this was a terrible mistake I've made here. The thing is, obviously, I already knew this was happening, but it just made the disappointment even worse.
I mean, I enjoyed the match.
Oh no, it was a really good match, but I'm also like, oh man, it's like, I think we've said this many a times, right? But I feel like now it really is over. Like, it's done. It's so over. It's the most over it's ever been. Like, if he's getting pinned by Dan, and then he's his tag partner as well, and we can't even be sure that like Dan will be the lost post in that team.
No, we can't.
Yeah.
Oh well. And then in the main event, Ryoki Honda defeated Yuma Aoraki in the final event. Paul, again, I don't know what's going on with Yuma, but this again was a solid but like match that failed to reach the next level. I think their matches last year in the Royal Road and then Honda's subsequent Triple Crown Challenge were much better.
Yeah. No. It's at this point, like, we have like a bit more of a sample size here where it's like, it's not quite clear. Like, I also can't really put my finger on it, what is missing really from like, like why the matches don't hit in the same way as well. Yeah. It's like some sort of like energy missing, despite the fact that he's the champion. So yeah, it's very odd. Like, almost like for me, like, for example, Honda was like the better worker in this match, which shouldn't necessarily, not that Honda is bad, but like, in theory, you'd think that Yuma is still the better one, but I didn't really feel that was the case in this match.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because we were just talking about it in the All Japan channel on Discord, right? And it's just like, well, we don't know. People are talking about it. It's like, well, is he expected to be carrying the matches more in a different way than he used to, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like, no one can really truly just put their entire finger on it, right?
Yeah,
I don't think this is some kind of like disaster or anything. Look, if I had to bet, Aoyagi will adjust out. He will adjust accordingly. Sort of kick ass again.
It's also not like they're bad, right? It's not like the matches are bad.
No, the matches aren't bad either. They're just they just don't quite get to those heights that they used to, and they're a little dry, like in the first half and everything like that. So I mean, look, there was a good 5 years where every time that Aoyagi was handed an opportunity, he stepped up and seized it and he crushed it. So I mean, I still think that he can do that. I wouldn't panic too much at this point, but we'll let's see where we are in a couple months.
I'm going to be very curious with the next title challenge and what Yuma will be able to do with that person.
For sure. Yeah. Well, there's also the question of, is Yuma holding this title past December 31st?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think he's losing it there.
And then we move on to the 15th of September at X City Hamamatsu in front of 505 fans. And in the tournament match, we got Cyrus defeating Jun Saito in 10:55. Okay. You know what, Paul? I think Cyrus should have better matches in this tournament, but I still like this. I still like this match. I thought it was solid. I was impressed how these guys kept moving for 10 minutes and did not do nerve holds. Did not do the big guy nerve holds in the middle of this. So this is a good 3.25 star match. Very solid. And I gotta say, I know Dylan is listening. I'm sorry, you were right. Cyrus has been Japan. I'm turning a corner on Cyrus. Okay, I really am.
I mean, this definitely exceeded my expectations. I will say Cyrus had a better match in this tournament with a very similar person.
Yes.
So I will say that, but I watched this one as well, and I was like, walking away with okay, this definitely was above where I thought it would be, and as you said as well, I was kind of impressed with the cardio that both men actually showed, because that's definitely been a struggle for Cyrus, but he kept up here.
Does Cyrus look like he dropped a little weight?
It might be that he's doing a bit more cardio, and that's why he's dropped a bit of weight, and that's why he is actually able to go 10 minutes now. Yeah. Whereas previously you get past 6 minutes and it's a struggle.
Now, to be fair, I was very down on Cyrus's singles matches because I have enjoyed him in the Real World Tag League the last couple times, especially the year when it was Suji and Cyrus.
But you were also right with that, right? With the criticizing the singles performances, because they were just all kind of the same match with no development there. Whereas this one felt different.
Yeah, definitely. And then main event in round 1. We had Kiyomiya hard defeating Hideki Suzuki in 21 minutes with the shutdown German suit. Paul, I had high expectations. This is a match I really wanted to see. These guys, and this was on a VOD show, so you're in front of 500 people, not even live. They wrestled perfectly good, solid wrestling. A bunch of let's slap some holds on Kento in the middle of this. And, so Kento could work the crowd for sympathy and go to the finishing, 3.5 star match, but disappointing at the same time.
Yeah.
But also, I was sort of surprised that Kento won.
Maybe they felt like they couldn't literally drop out both Yuma and Kento, but I guess, and also I think it made sense because of what happened then in the next round. I think it made what happened in the semifinal. I think it made sense why Kento moved on, because I think that was a bigger scalp to get than for Honda to beat Hideki Suzuki.
And
but otherwise, I agree.
And you also wanted Kento's name on that Korakuen Cup.
That too. But otherwise, I agree. This was very much a house show, a complete house show main event. Just some exciting stuff, but otherwise, it's very much work the crowd. Don't bump too much, which fair enough. And then you go for the finish, and acceptable match, but nothing special. I assume if you were there in the crowd, it was probably a blast. Like having been to like shows where people work this kind of style as well can be very entertaining if you're there in person.
Oh, the
but
crowd
is
was training for Kenta when he was in the
Yeah.
obviously.
I mean, I assume it's probably similar to like the perspective of people that watched like the Anzai versus Fuji match on VOD, where like that definitely probably didn't translate the way it did like when you were there in person. Where like in person, it was like one of my favorite matches this year.
Mm-hmm. And then, so we go to Osaka, Surumi Ryokuchi Hanaku Memorial Hana Mizuki Hall.
Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah. It's an interesting venue because it's not where they usually go. It's not like Eddie on number 2 type thing. I mean, that's a decent turnout for what this was.
I dubbed it the truck venue.
Oh, yeah.
Was that just a ring truck?
I assume.
Did they literally drive the ring truck into the arena?
So PWF World Junior Heavyweight title. Mr. Saito Noguchi Doi defeated Hikaru Saito in 1355 with the Samson clutch. For his third defense of the title. Oh, Paul, I don't know. I mean, this wasn't great either.
Yeah.
Especially, it's gonna rub some people the wrong way because like Doi wrestled in what was it called, the Virgin Killer or something?
Yeah, the Virgin Killer sweater, which is thing that Hikaru Sato often does on like smaller shows.
And then Sato rolled out of the ring. See, I thought it started well, even though Doi was doing the gimmick. But then when Sato like rolled out of the ring and donned his own Virgin Killer, then okay. And then like the final was them just like doing standing switches, like a million standing switches, and then like getting his Samson clutch. But I can't call it horrible either. But
no,
come on.
Also, I have to say, unfortunately, Alan Foel, I think I am off the Naruki Doi Wrestler of the Year train again.
It's only one match.
I mean, it is only one match, but like you have to have like very consistent output. So I mean, I can be back on there, like if his match with Dan delivers. Because I also feel like why they did this was because then Dan came out and was like, "What the fuck are you guys doing? Like, let's have a serious wrestling match next."
Yeah. And so we get to the tournament. We got Rei Saito defeating Kumarashi in 1309 with the powerbomb. Lots of fun. I thought the two worked well. As I said on our X/Twitter thing, is Rei Saito the best big man in the business right now?
I would say so. Especially with like his next match.
Who else is a good big man who wrestles consistently?
Who wrestles consistently? Yeah.
Like people would be like, "Oh, Big Bill is really good."
But exactly. How often does he actually wrestle?
Yeah.
And it really wrestles like a big man style as well. That's the other thing, right? Yeah, I'm really kind of struggling to think of anyone because there's obviously like other like tall guys, but none of them really like wrestle like a big man either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't comment. Yeah, I think it's Ray. Yeah, I don't think it's even particularly close.
Well, there's an interesting comp in Calvin Tankman, but Calvin Tankman wrestles like a power wrestler. He doesn't really necessarily even though he's a big guy, whereas Ray wrestles like a bear. Credit to Superman, the first person I saw pointing that out. But it's like he wrestles like a bear. Whereas
I mean, I guess like Walter?
I don't know how to. Does skinny Walter count as a big
man? Fuck yeah, I forgot that he's skinny though. Yeah, no.
Anyway, the point is, Rei Saito's the best big man in the
Yeah, he is.
I think that's fair to say. Next match, Davey Boy Smith Jr. versus Hokuto Omori, defeated Hokuto Omori in 10:45 with the Bulldog Bomb. Paul, I gotta say, they started this match. They shook hands at the beginning, shockingly enough, and they just wrestled the match. Hokuto didn't do anything fine. I can't call this a great match or anything. This is a perfectly solid little match.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be so much bullshit in this match, and then that just
I did too.
Didn't happen.
No, and Omori got a decent amount of offense in.
Yeah, especially since Hokuto was like basically like ringside for both matches, right? Because they were already there for like Kuma Arashi.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I will also say like again a match that exceeded my expectation, didn't blow me away, but I was like, oh, this could be horrible because they're probably gonna do like a bunch of interference, and they didn't. So kudos.
Yeah. And then main event, Ren Ayabe defeated Yuma Anzai in 2024 with the Death Roulette. I would say this may be the third best match of the tournament.
In total or up to this point?
Oh, in total.
In
Best-
total. Oh, okay. Interesting.
No question. Best matchup.
I might actually be putting it fourth, but I can see where you would put it third. Yeah.
No, but up to this point, because the last match of round 1, it was definitely the best match of round 1.
Oh yeah, up in round 1, it was absolutely by far the best match. It wasn't even close. Yeah.
Sure. I thought Anzai was great, and I thought Ayabe was pretty good too for what I was expecting of him. Although I would say that Ayabe would get even better, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So we go to the second round. It should keep a first ring. Okay, Ray Saito defeated Cyrus at 10:51 with the eyes bind. This rocked.
Yeah. So this was actually my third best match of the tournament.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
It's Alan was Al was also watching this match, and yeah, I mean, it was just two big guys just fighting and running into each other and brawling.
Yep.
Got it. Ruled.
It did the Fight Takayama spot, which just got Chinkiba just popping like crazy.
Oh yeah, Cyrus. Cyrus, you really have taken a step forward.
Yeah. And again, it wasn't a sprint, right? Because when they did that fiery start, it was gonna be oh, okay, this is gonna be 4 minutes or whatever. And no, they had a full match in there and everything, and they kept up the pace as well as they could.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then Ren Ayabe defeated Davey Boy Smith Jr. in 15:57 with the death roulette and a big upset, I thought.
Oh yeah, I was shocked when this happened.
Yeah. Well, this is when it became clear, okay, this guy's Ayabe, could we go and play this?
Yeah.
But I thought it was very solid, right? Look, Smith can be dry even if he is technically competent, and Ayabe has. Well, we'll talk more about Ayabe's strength, but I thought it good 3.5-star match.
I think what helps Davey Boy, right?
Yeah.
Because previously, I think what he always struggled with, either he was in a promotion where everybody was a lot larger than him, like WWE.
Yeah.
Or he was in a promotion where everybody was a lot smaller than him.
Yeah.
Whereas now he's in there with a lot of people that are roughly either only slightly smaller or about the same size as him.
Well, it's funny, Paul, because did you see the reviews that he got for the CMML Grand Prix?
Oh yeah, but people are he should retire.
Yeah, I saw it from multiple people. Oh, he stunk in that.
I'm I don't know. I think he's been good in All Japan.
But I mean, I didn't see the CML Grand Prix yet. I have so much CML to catch up on anyway. But the matter is, I
mean, he's also not really a guy that I feel vibes well with Lucha, right?
Yeah, and he's mixed in MLW.
Yeah, but I mean, it's MLW, you know,
where everyone wrestles at a 3.5-star peak.
Exactly. The only one that seemingly exceeds there is Kenta.
Yes. And then we got Kento Miyahara defeating Joel Redmond in 14:29 with the pinfall. I said, a Japanese world catch holder, a cradle. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, I mean, this was a Kento match where it was Redmond doing the technical stuff, Miyahara trying to fight back, and then Miyahara ultimately surprising him. It was solid. I liked it.
Yeah, I will say it was better than the match with Hideki Suzuki.
Yes,
I like this one more. But again, that's what I mean. Because he was in there with Kento, right? So it was still a very good match, but I also felt I don't think the match could have been much better than it actually was.
Well, can I just say though, I hate this had the most telegraphed spot that did annoy me, even though I did generally like this match. But I'm sorry, but when Kento gets on the turnbuckle, he's eating shit, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's the same with Ric Flair, you know. What are you even going to do from there? What is your actual move you do? Kento
gets on the second rope, jumps off and just eats a super kick from from Redmond. You're oh yeah, of course that was gonna happen. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And Kento didn't even do any pretense that he was actually trying a move other than just jumping off the second turnbuckle.
Yeah, you could at least motion you're gonna do a double axe handle, or I don't know. Yeah. It was just literally no, I'm just jumping so I can be caught with a move.
And then in the main event, Ryuki Honda defeated Dan Tamber in 25-23 with the final event to make it into the semis. And was my second best match of the tournament, and again, the best match of the tournament up to this point. It was awesome, and they just, built up, brawled, lots of lariats, and obviously, I think most people expected Honda in the crowd to win, but of course, Tampa got that underdog heat and everything. It was awesome.
No, this was actually my favorite match of the tournament. I thought this was awesome. Just like the physicality of it, just both men just like laying into each other. I think this is Dan's advantage of like where he's like him and Honda aren't like too far apart where it looks unbelievable. So I feel like it really like did well where like it just felt that these guys were like kind of on a similar level in terms of like strength and everything. And they just like beat the shit out of each other, and I thought this was awesome. I went like 4 1/4 on this one, and to me, like best match in the tournament. The one that I assume was your favorite match of the tournament wasn't far behind. So
and then the final show at Korakuen Hall on September 22nd in front of 1,473 fans. Supernova vacancy full house, and their biggest Korakuen attendance of the year. Oh, that's quite the accomplishment.
No, that is impressive.
This tournament,
exactly. With that main event, I mean, you didn't know what the main event was at the time, obviously.
Well,
but still,
look, it was. I mean, it was going to be Ayabe and Rei Saito on one side, even if Kento was going through, right?
Yeah.
But people would have loved Kento versus Rei. I mean, I want Kento versus Rei now because I feel like those two could have an incredible match. Given where Rei,
but I also feel like the crowd wasn't disappointed with what they got either, right?
No, they weren't. Yeah. So we start with the Actors times, and it was Sakura Mizushima and Natsuki defeated Ayano Irie and then Nene Arahata in 11:26 when Natsuki used the cutie special on Arahata. Paul, I actually thought these Actors girls matches have now settled into like a pretty solid nice little opener. They started off horrible, and then they improved, and then they all went to Marigold, and I thought they were going to be horrible again, but they now settled into a nice little pattern.
Fair enough. I saw them come out to do the same dance they always do, and I fast forwarded to Kento Miyahara's entrance.
Well, it makes sense.
Look, I mean, this was less me not wanting to give them a chance and more I have no time because at that point it was like 6 p.m.
Sure. And then so semifinals of the tournament, Ryuki Honda defeated Kento Miyahara in 11-6 the final event. I mean, this was a very good match. The only thing that was, I would say, the biggest weakness is only 11 minutes, right? Because it's like it actually started at a normal Kento Miyahara like 25-minute match pace, and then all of a sudden they just went
to the finish. Yeah. But I feel like this is the one like Kento was like acting the most heelish, right?
Right.
Because he had like the whole like count out spot on the outside and everything. With Kento just like on the inside, just being like, count him out. I'll advance by count out. I don't care. So at like all the like kind of little things that he did to like disrespect Honda and all of that. Also, okay, I have to do also like a weird observation. So on that count out spot as well. So you remember kind of like when Honda was like climbing back in, right? And Kent and they did like the whole sequence after that, and then Wada was like trying to climb back into the ring.
Yeah.
And for some reason, when he like tried to climb back into the ring, my brain went to, oh my god, is Wada like going to like grab Honda's leg? Is he turning heel? I don't know why I went there. Maybe I was just delusional at that point, but for some reason that's where my brain went. But but again, I felt Kento really like healed it up in this match to really, which again made sense, right? Because Honda was going to go through, so you really want like the crowd like hyped up for him to win.
Mm-hmm. So then we go to semifinal. Ren Ayabe defeated Rei Saito in 11:59 with a modified Dragon Sleeper that is now called Iron Maiden. Paul, find a wrestler in Japan that does not listen to heavy metal. Can you do it?
Only Japanese wrestlers?
Yeah.
No, okay. Then no, I give up. No, wait. I can tell you exactly, and we don't have to leave this promotion. It's Yuma Aoyagi.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he doesn't seem like a metalhead. for sure.
I mean, literally, Ryuki Honda made fun of him after he beat him by dancing to his like pop song.
Okay, I forgot to talk about that. What do you think of that? Do you think that's Honda being too ridiculous?
A little bit, but also it was very obvious that he was just mocking. That he was mocking Yuma.
Yeah.
It went on for way too long, though.
Yes.
And you could see that Honda also was out of ideas after like 30 seconds, and they did it for 2 minutes straight. Like that felt like they were ribbing him by the end.
Yeah. And then so I watched this whole show. Then we had the Shitaro Shino, Dan Tamura, Ryo Inoue, and Kuro Tokyo Japan, and Sega Tachibana, defeated Musashi, Seki Yoshioka, Joel Redmond, Hikaru Sato, and Fuminori Abe in 9-9 when Tachibana pinned Abe. So we're going back to that for the Gaor TV titles.
Mm-hmm.
Sato brothers,
I'm not against. I mean, they're running it back a lot this year, but also all of the matches have been great, so I really cannot blame them.
No. Sato Brothers versus Hokuto Army. Hokuto Omori, Kumar Arashi, Cyrus defeated Jun Saito, Mr. Saito, Naruki Doi, and Senor Saito in 8:23 when Omori pinned Jun after a frog splash. Paul Omori got up there and crushed himself on the top rope as he was right before he delivered the frog splash. So he got right back up and delivered the frog splash to get the win. And I thought when he did that, man, that's like when he crushed himself on that top rope like that at that big moment. That's just pure big Hokuto, is it not?
Yes, it very much is. Like Hokuto's biggest enemy is Hokuto Omori.
Yeah. And I do like Hokuto Gun, or when they're not doing stupid shit, right?
They're really fun goobers. Like they're not like a serious threat or anything like that, but they're like very fun, like undercard goobers that are like, like that will beat some people, but also if you want to have the crowd be happy, like you just beat these guys and it's not really bad or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people are like, oh, what happened to Hokuto Omori? I don't think
no.
Clearly not as good in the ring as all those other guys.
No, but there's a spot for him,
Yeah. Oh, I agree. You need someone to do stuff in the video.
Yes, because this promotion is still incredibly thin. So you definitely need ditch diggers too. And Hokuto Omori is a great ditch digger.
Look, this guy has been in the business, I think, only a couple months difference than Ryuki Honda, and Honda has lapped him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think the other performer in the main event has also passed him by from work rate. I don't think Hokuto Omori has had a singles match as good as Ren Abe had. And do you think so?
Trying to think. This match with no. Because it's not like he hasn't had good singles matches, but I don't think he's had any match that was as good as the main event, as the final here. Yeah. I think that's fair to say. Yeah. And look, we're saying all of that, and yet, Hokuto also hasn't been around for that long, and he still has done so much more like things of note compared to other people in other promotions that like made their debut around the same time.
He's moved faster than some Noah people.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, we were just talking about Kai Fujimura. I'm pretty sure Kai and Honda, they're both like some of the last like Wrestle 1 trainees, right? So I think they kind of made their debut around the same time.
Well,
so
Hokuto debuted in October, November of 2019. He was like just a couple months before Atsuki and Dan.
And Kai Fujimura made his debut 2nd of July 2019.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
So he's been around a couple of months longer than them. I mean, he's still Black Tights young boy.
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Really. And then the Suwama return match. Suwama, Hideki Suzuki, and Davey Boy Smith defeated Yuma Aoyagi, Masakatsu Funaki, and Yuma Anzai 9:32 with the Bulldog Bomb from Smith on Funaki, where he talked about the result. I enjoyed the match, actually. Big surprise there, but I guess it's not that surprising that Funaki was pinned by Smith. Yeah.
I was just surprised that, because they very often in Japan do the whole thing of like the returnee losing the return match, but yeah. I get why maybe they didn't want to do that here, and also, but you know what? I mean, we say that like that Funaki was willing to take the pin, but then you also look at like throughout this match, and it's like, who else, right?
Yeah, that's also true. But you still have to get Funaki to agree to it in the first place.
It is true, obviously, but it's also literally like he's very obviously the lowest guy on the totem pole. If you actually look at it objectively, it's just yes, you have to get through like the old shooter, like stubbornness of not wanting to get pinned. But like objectively, he's like the the least star, smallest star. Is that a fair thing? I don't know if that's a phrase, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. I thought Futaki might be popping up more in All Japan, but that doesn't. For some, I was just like randomly here, and he hadn't been here in a while, so I'm like, well, maybe they're going to use him because, of course, his Noah participation is also slowed to. He's only got the tag match, the shooter tag match coming up. Anyway, Odo finals. Ren Ayabe defeated Ryuki Honda in 24-39 with the Death Roulette. Paul, I really did think that this was the best match of the tournament. Not a perfect match. I did still go 4 1/4, but this is the best match of Ren Ayabe's career and better, like we said, than any match Hokuto Mori has ever had. I'm sorry, sorry, Hokuto, but it's true. I mean, look, I thought Ren was laying it in here more than he usually does. Now, can he lay it in a little more, even more? Yes, I don't disagree. Can he emote more? Yes, and also at the end of the match, when like Aoyagi got in there with the mic, you could tell that Ren was nowhere near as good on the mic and comfortable on the mic as Aoyagi.
No.
I don't know if you saw that at all.
It was. He's still very awkward when he actually has to cut promos.
You don't have to speak Japanese to feel.
No.
But you know what? Ayabe still made a huge stride forward in this tournament.
Yeah.
And for a guy that they're going to push no matter what because he's 6'7" inches tall or about 200 centimeters for you metric people, he's always going to get a push. And I mean, I think mostly he's living up to it. But no, don't think he has any chance of beating Yuma Aoyagi for the Triple Crown, nor should he. I think that would be a mess.
No.
Mess.
No, absolutely not. But I mean, we were calling for one another. We were like, yeah, we think that Ayabe has like shown development and everything, but we were really like kind of waiting for that like big step up, right? Like that's what we were calling for as well. And I think that he definitely showed that in this tournament. Still obviously room to develop, but like I think overall just took massive leap forward. I think he knew that this is like his big like breakout chance, and I think he like took it by the throat. He really like stepped up. I also have to say Honda, for me, the absolute MVP of the tournament.
For sure.
I don't think, to me at least, it's not debatable. All of the matches that he had were like good to great. I love this match as well. I thought they played off of it really well, that like these two are stable mates. And I mean, they're tag team partners now, right? Because we've actually kind of transitioned away from New Period, and actually Ayabe and Honda are the team now, and Anzai and Hayato are the other LP that tag team now. So I think they played off of that dynamic incredibly well, where it's like, yeah, we like respect each other because we're partners, but also like this is a competition, so like I'm just going to do whatever I can to win this match because I want to win this competition. I want to be the best. So no, I thought that worked really well. I love that story. And just the other thing as well, right? Like that they main evented this tournament with like two guys that are still pretty young, that are still relatively like they're getting there, but I would still call them like not super experienced, right? Because I looked it up. Like the combined experience of these two guys is 10 years combined. Yeah, not individually. Combined experience is 10 years, and Honda is still 24 years old. Ayabe is 27 years old. Like when else in Japan have you seen a tournament, like a major tournament, be main evented by guys that young and that inexperienced, and it delivered?
Yeah, exactly.
So massive risk by all Japan, but I think it paid off.
Paid off. Paid off. Yeah. But yeah, look, Ayabe's got this. Honda's probably getting the title shot in Sapporo when they go on that Hokkaido tour at the end of October again this year.
Yeah.
So, and because they're only doing one show in Sapporo, they're not doing that double header again. They they did last year. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the rest of the year for Aoyagi, and we'll see what happens on December 31st. But Paul, we have the Real World Tag League team. And not only
Yes.
do we have the Real World Tag League, but we got a new format they haven't done since like 2016. We got 2 blocks, and we got on the final night at Korakuen Hall in December 6th or 7th or 8th. I can't remember. I don't have it right in front of me, but it's early. It's going to be semis and the finals on that Korakuen show. So it's 1A versus 2B, and 1A2 versus or however it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So they don't. So actually, for once, they don't have to engineer a draw to get a final or have a really obvious final setup as the main event of the last tour show, which gives it away the way the tournament is going to go. So yeah. Again, I liked it that it didn't have a formal final, but also it just always kind of screwed with the booking a lot. So I like that they actually went for like, let's just do a formal final.
Yeah. So A block, Sato brothers, Musashi and Seki Yoshioka, Yuma Anzai and Rising Hayato, Shotaro Ashino and Dan Tamura, Hokuto Mori, Kuma Rashi, Daisuke Sekimoto and Kengo Mishimo, which I think is great. And then and XX. Paul, who is X in XX?
I feel like one of them is going to be Shuji Ishikawa.
Is the other Black Mensa Ray?
Maybe. I mean, obviously, people have been throwing around, well, XX, that's the thing that Katsuhiko Nakajima always has on his gear now, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I could see Ishikawa and Mensa Ray.
That definitely would be like, I mean, you literally bring the year like full circle if you do that, right?
Yeah. And then B block, Kenta Miura and Davey Boy Smith Jr., Ryuki Honda and Ren Ayabe. We got Kiyoshio Tokyo Japan and Seigo Tachibana. Cyrus and Hartley Jackson. Paul, Lord Crew had teased that he would be teaming with Hartley Jackson, but that didn't happen. And actually, I don't think you can discount X and XX being foreigners either, actually.
So you think it could be like, but then if it's like a Lord Crew, why wouldn't you just announce him?
I don't know. Yeah. But
I mean, maybe there's a holdup with visas.
Yeah. Do you think X and X could be foreigners? Or one?
I mean, it could be, but it would be like have to be someone that like there's a reason why you keep a like unless it's visa issues and you literally don't want to announce them because you don't know if you can get them into the country. Yeah. Otherwise, it would have to be someone where it's actually worth it to be like, we actually would get a pop out of the crowd when you announce the mystery participants.
And then we have, of course, Suwama and Hideki Suzuki, the team that just won't go away. Yuma Aoyagi and Fuminori Abe.
Yep, that's I'm really curious about that one. I'm intrigued.
Hikaru Sato and Yuko Miyamoto. And Paul, Baka no Jidai, which is like Suwama and Hideki are now a faction, and Sato and Miyamoto are also. And I don't know if that supersedes Evolution.
I mean, maybe we can finally say RIP Evolution. Like, that was a hell of a run. Like, that faction was around for 10 years.
Yeah.
But then again, we already buried Evolution previously, and it came back anyway. So who knows?
Yeah. Next Stream is actually dead, though.
Next Stream is actually dead. Yeah, Next Stream is just actually dead. So what I'm curious, though, is like, I mean, I kind of like, with Sato, I'm happy Sato's in there, but I would have preferred if we would have just gotten, Yankee to Kenju instead. And same with Yuma Aoyagi and Fuminori Abe, but I also would have rather had astronauts. So,
of course. But politics in the way. But I mean, thank God. But finally, after an absence, we have some W talent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But that makes it even more where it's like, could have also booked, if you get Big Japan guys again, if like whatever like disagreement there was previously seems to have finally been removed. Maybe could have gotten Takuya Nomura, but you know what? I'm happy that like it seems like All Japan is like finally ending. It's like isolationist stance because they do need these guys to like fill out the cards.
Is it All Japan's isolationist stance, or All Japan has put themselves in an isolationist stance?
Yes, no, that's more what I was saying was like,
yeah,
because certain people in the promotion lost their mind towards the end of last year, I think is why they got there. But I feel like he's also regained his sanity now and has been like, I think he's actually been actively working to like repair relationships, and I think that's paying off now.
So on this show, sorry, I'm going to October 12th in Saitama at the Gyota Green Arena main arena. So we've got things of interest. We got Yuma Aoyagi, Kento Miyahara, Davey Boy Smith, and Musashi versus Ren Ayabe, Rising Hado, Ryuki Honda, and Yuma Anzai. That's actually a pretty good match. We got Suwama versus Ryo Inoue, which is actually I want to see.
Ooh, actually, yeah. I mean, it's going to be a swash, but it could at least be fun.
We got Kuroshio Tokyo Japan and Seigo Tachibana versus Cyrus and Jack Kennedy. Then
So will they maybe actually for once do like the thing where like Jiro actually like sneak attack Cyrus during his entrance rather than the other way around?
That could be very possible. I could see that. And then for the World Tag Team titles, we got Jun Saito and Rei Saito, the Saito brothers versus Hokuto Morton and Kuma Arashi. And Paul, I actually think this could be a good match.
Yeah, this could be really fun. Like especially with Kuma in there and everything, they're just kind of gonna do like some big meat slapping. So and again, we've been saying like the one thing I will also say because we've kind of been ragging a bit on like Hokuto in terms of like singles matches, but he is a genuinely really good tag worker.
Yes, he's had some great tag matches. I think his best tag matches have been better than his best single matches.
Yeah, by far. I don't think it's close.
Remember that one where that tag match was it the Setos versus like him and Minoru Suzuki?
Yeah,
last year, and that was like shockingly good.
Yeah, and like all of his matches with Nakajima as well.
Yeah. So and then PWF World Junior Heavyweight Championship match. We got Mr. Sato Naruki Doi versus Dan Tamura. Paul, this is on. So this show they released the broadcasting info. This show is like a view, but it's in Saitama. Do you think Dan's winning here? I kind of think.
I got the feeling as well because Doi has gotten. Because generally, if you look at like Doi's reigns since he kind of became a freelancer, they've generally been all like his first like reign with this title was around this length, right? Like his Universal title reign in DDT was around that length, so. That's generally seems to be like what he wants to do when he holds a title is like go in there, hold it for like a month or 2 or 3, get a couple of title defenses and then lose it to someone young essentially. So I would expect him to lose to Dan here as well. Okay.
And then on the 13th, the next day, we have another show. It is in Numazu. And so we got the All Asia Tag Team match. And this is interesting. We got Musashi and Seki Yoshioka versus Rising Hato and Yuma Anzai. What do you think?
I mean, again, it's the All Asia title, right? So it's a coin flip. But I definitely, like, we have had a fairly lengthy reign here. And Rising Hayato also, like, you have to be honest, hasn't really done a whole lot recently, right?
No,
since he lost the title.
No, he really hasn't.
So I feel like it's about time you give him, like, at least something to do, even if it is this title.
Yeah, for sure. And well, you probably should give Anzai something.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it's like basically you have like your heavyweight ace and your junior ace like in a bit of a holding position at the moment.
Yeah.
So might as well like give them a little bit something to do before you like move them both back into like whenever you want to move both back into like main events.
We got listen to this. Kuroshio Tokyo Japan versus Cyrus. Ryo Inoue versus Seigo Tachibana.
Actually, you know what? I was talking about right when they finally do the reverse of like Jiro like attack Cyrus. I think maybe they're gonna do that here, right? They're gonna do that in a singles match. Because you have to, because they've been doing it like basically every single time these two have faced off. So I feel like eventually you have to pay that off of doing the reverse of it, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. And then we got Shotaro Shino, Dan Tamura, and David Boy Smith Jr. versus Suwama, Hideki Suzuki, and Hikaru Sato. We got Jun Sato, Rei Sato, Mr. Sato, Naruki Doi, and Senor Sato versus Hokuto Omori, Kuma Arashi, Hartley Jackson, Jack Kennedy. And then we've got also very interesting, a Triple Crown skirmish match, which is Yuma Aoyagi and Kento Miyahara versus Ren Ayabe and Ryuki.
It's 2 Triple Crown challenges right there.
Yeah. And then, so on the 22nd, they've got a match. They got the show at Korakuen, which is also Suwama's 20th anniversary show. And so this is where, Paul, we're going to get Ren Yuma Aoyagi for the Triple Crown. we've got the debuting rookies.
Finally.
Yes, I was a little surprised that. Well, no, actually, this is right around the perfect time that they would debut because they entered the dojo
Mhm.
last December. So
Mhm.
it's Sakuto Terada and Taishin Nagao versus Dan Tama and Ryo Inoue. And that's a really good debut match.
Yeah. Because do you know how long it's been since the last debut? Which would have been Inoue, obviously.
It was January 2022, right?
Yeah. So it's been it's been 2.5 years since they've debuted a rookie. So yeah, long overdue for like some new blood.
I will be curious if they put out a call for the dojo.
I mean, they kind of have to, right? Because as we've been saying, it's a great roster, but a very shallow roster as well. So yeah, I wouldn't be. I feel like they might also be trying to like get some heavyweights in there.
Yeah.
Those two, from what I've seen, they seem rather short. Yeah.
Oh, Paul, they're like 5'5", 5'6".
Yeah, because again, it's tall Japan, but like the most recent like young tall Japan guys, like I mean, obviously Anzai. We're stupid, right? Because we both forgot about Anzai.
Oh, Anzai debuted in September 2022.
Yeah, so he was actually after Inoue. We just kind of forgot that he he's.
I always forget that though.
Again, he's a former Triple Crown champion. I don't think that's I think it's reasonable that we forget that he's like only 2 years in.
Let me double check. It was 2022. I swear to God, right?
Yeah, it was because we were still talking about him as like Rookie of the Year last year.
January 2nd, 2022. That's crazy. They did.
Yeah. So, but like again, like aside from that, like it's Inoue, and then the other like young, like tall guys are both guys they brought in like externally, like Ayabe from JTO and Honda. Yes, they put him back in the dojo, but like let's be real, like he was like a Wrestle One young boy before they basically did the thing that like New Japan did with Okada, where they like briefly like young boyed him and then fast tracked him out of that.
Paul, the most interesting match on the show may be Suwama 20th anniversary tag match. We got Hideki Suzuki and Shuji Kato versus Suwama and X.
Ooh, I mean,
it's got to be the big dog, right? If you're going to like that,
it's a real idea. It's finally we'll see Violent Giants reunite.
Well, Paul, speaking of Violent Giants, I do have one other thing that we have to address because it didn't go up. It's not up on AJPW TV yet, but on the Evolution show yesterday, Chihiro Hashimoto, Shuji Shikawa, and you Team 333K defeated Das Chisako and Yankee Kenju to retain the tag team titles. And after the match, Hokuto Gun came out to challenge.
Ooh, that's perfect. That's the perfect title for them. Yes.
I feel like they got to be.
Yeah. No, I very much would think so because, as we were saying, right, like they did these like mid-card goobers, and that's like the perfect like mid-card goober title for them to hold as well.
Now, from my understanding, I think it's Hokuto, Cyrus, Kuma that were there.
I mean, that might make it a little less likely because if we don't know how long Cyrus is going to hang around. Because he does take like breaks in between Japan tours. But then again, they also aren't above just letting these titles disappear for a while as well.
Yeah.
Because if it was Jack Kennedy, who, as far as I know, lives in Japan, I think they'll definitely 100% win because then they just have it on Free Guys they can have on like basically every show.
Well, maybe let me double check. I can only find pictures of Hokuto there, but I swear I thought I saw Cyrus, but I don't. So I could be completely off.
I mean, we'll see it when the actual match happens, right? We'll see who it actually will be.
Yeah, I mean, it could be like Hokuto Gun's got shirt at the latest development as well. So I suppose they're going to be around for a bit. But they'll probably when the match goes up on AJPW TV, it's not up on the because it's the 6-man titles. They probably will have the post match and we'll be able to figure it out. But I do think they probably should have Hokuto Gun win those titles just because I think that's really good for them to do, in all honesty.
Like it gives them something like concrete to do, right? You can have them like defend the titles against like Naruki Doi, like senior Saito and one of the like actual Saitos. So yeah, like there's like a lot of the like you can maybe do them have them defend against Elpida or like Suwama, Hideki, and like Hikaru Sato or something like that. Like there's many different options that you can do with Hokuto like holding these belts. So yeah, they definitely should put them on they definitely should put these titles on them as well.
But also it's going to be interesting. Like Shuji might be coming back as well too. Funny.
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah. Although he's had a bit of a Suji-sans of his own this year.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed kind of pissed off and motivated after the whole thing with All Japan went down the way it did.
Yeah. So, I mean, assuming it's him, I really can't see the X being anyone else. That's
no.
Unless it's
and like it really brings the year full circle.
I was gonna say Kojima.
I mean, yeah, the biggest X in history. I mean, look, if it actually is like Kojima and Nakajima, I'm not going to be against that. Like, I'm not going to say no.
No. But yeah.
And it Paul, would be a better, more feel-good story if it is Ishikawa.
For sure. And Paul, let's just finish off real quickly with... we've talked about it before, but I see more people talking about it, and I've stopped. Kento Miyahara's future. I mean, I'm thinking that I don't think he's leaving. I really didn't get that vibe, although I don't think it's impossible. But I wouldn't bet on it.
I mean, he's definitely doing a lot of jobs.
Yeah, but even if he's staying, at some point you got to do the redemption. You can drop him too much.
Yeah, he's been losing to everybody. And I mean, I was saying when this whole thing started off, where I was like, I mean, it's Kento Miyahara. He's kind of Teflon, so it's fine, but. Like, we're getting to a point now where, like, even Teflon will rub off eventually. So...
Yeah. I mean, I still maintain to this day, they probably jobbed out Tanahashi.
Yeah, too quickly.
Yeah, like...
Where, like, now he can't put, like, the young guys over that they have now because it doesn't mean anything to beat Tanahashi.
Yeah, like, they had Oleg Boltin beat him in that G1 qualifier tournament, and it... Mm-hmm. I mean, as great as Bolton is, it really didn't mean anything for him.
It meant more that he beat Taichi.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, if you tell that to someone like 10 years ago, they'd have you forcibly committed.
Yeah, totally. So I guess my point is, if Kento is... Look, I'm not going to have a meltdown if Kento leaves. I'm just going to tell people right now. I'm not going to like people acted when Okada left New Japan. Only because... Kento leaving would allow us in some ways maybe even to see Kento at his maximum potential, like, you know, working much bigger crowds, right? So I'd be very curious to see him on a bigger stage.
Well, depending where he goes, right?
I suppose so.
If he goes to New Japan, then yes. If he goes to Noah, then it's not necessarily going to be bigger, actually. Well, actually, maybe he will turn their business around. Maybe that's what they need, yeah.
Well, see... I still think Noah's technically, well, I mean, they're very competitive in a lot of ways, but they have the resources to run like big shows that All Japan simply doesn't.
No, obviously not. No.
So I still would think it is do that. Anyway, but no, I don't expect it, but they got to do something with Kento. I don't know. He's only 35.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it was very funny when they put him in the like old team with the team that with like Suwama and Hideki Suzuki.
Yeah. I was also surprised that he never beat defense record.
Oh yeah, true. That's the one thing he hasn't done. Yeah.
Because they had Suwama beat him.
Yeah,
and he never, which was always interesting to me. I don't know if you could do that now though, because that would require a very long reign, and I don't know.
Well, we were just saying he's done a lot of jobs, right?
Yeah.
So what better way to get all of those back by giving him a really long reign?
Yeah, and that would be the last big one, I suppose.
Probably, yeah. Would you do it with him as a heel, though?
Not for a record-breaking reign, no. If you want to do 6 months as a...
I mean, I don't necessarily mean like in like the voodoo murderers like vein.
No, I know.
Because I know it's kind of trite, but I just, you know, like the comparisons are right there. And I just look at it and I'm like, some of the best business this company ever did was the whole like Jumbo Misawa feud.
Yeah.
If you just make Kento the Jumbo and Anzai is the obvious like Misawa comp, you know, like you could put the title, you could put like Kento as like he's been losing against all of these young guys, and everybody's talking about like how Kento's getting left behind behind the young guys, and he just like is like, you know what, fuck all of you, and just goes grumpy.
Yeah, but if I turned Kento heel, I'd have him beat like Anzai, beat Anzai hard. Not a
Oh
sweep,
yeah.
but like a very strong victory over Anzai type thing. Sort of like I'm still the boss or still the ace type thing.
I mean, what you could do is you could run Yuma versus Yuma Aoyagi versus Yuma Ansai on like December 31st. Or you could have him do that by like, or you could do Yuma and Kento there, and that's where Kento basically like, or maybe before the match even turns, and then has like an incredibly like statement win over Yuma Aoyagi.
I would have a heel Kento beat Aoyagi, and then like first defense or second defense beat Anzai convincingly.
Yeah, you could even do that like a couple of days later on the like January Korakuen.
No, because I think you can do another Anzai versus Miyahara match somewhere bigger than Korakuen.
In a bigger building, yeah.
Yeah.
You could do Davy Boy versus Kento. Basically, like I don't know, they like get out of like the real world tackling, and Kento just snaps and like turns on Davy Boy and then challenges Yuma. I know we're getting too much into fantasy booking now, but
yeah, I mean, I just think you got to do something with him. I really do.
No, like what they're doing right now, definitely like he's just a bit adrift. Not adrift, but it's I do think they're gonna do something with him. Yeah. Like I would be shocked if they're just like de-pushing him now, and he's just kind of like an upper mid-carder. Like I think that would be stupid. Like, and they also don't have the roster for that. So I do think something will happen with Kento either before the end of the year or very early next year.
Yeah, right now I'm leaning towards end of the year. It's a perfect time to.
Yeah.
Because given how the end of the year ended for Kento last year, it's probably the right time.
Oh yeah, that's true actually. Yeah. Yeah, he needs a win to some degree, because he's been losing for like a year straight basically.
Yeah. So that's that. We'll be back in a little over a week to talk about the most ridiculous show of the year, and we'll talk about the best matches from the Noah UK.
Yeah.
And then we have a little special surprise that has to do with GLEAT.
Yes. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
We'll see you very soon, so take care.
Do you like wrestling trivia? Then check out the 5-Star Match Game, the Pro Wrestling Quiz Show. I'm Joe Gagney. In every episode, I grill 3 contestants with 5 rounds of power-packed wrestling trivia. We have over 30 evergreen episodes in the archives covering WWE, AEW, Japan, Mexico, and much, 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 much more. Play along at home and check it out today.